This is the story of the Manson Family Murders. She was 8 months pregnant and begging for her life. The night air in Benedict Canyon was still, almost silent, until it was. Until screams shattered the calm, and a name that would haunt America forever was born in blood. Charles Manson. But what happened that August night in 1969 didn't start in Hollywood. It began decades earlier, with a boy no one wanted, and a world that turned him into something unrecognizable. Charles Mills Manson was born in 1934 to a teenage mother named Kathleen Maddox, a girl who drank too much, ran with the wrong men, and didn't have the faintest idea how to raise a child. His father abandoned them before he even took his first breath. By the age of 5, his mother was in prison for robbery, and Manson was left to drift, shuffled between relatives, reform schools, and the streets. Everywhere he went, he learned the same lesson. People could be used, and the world would only listen to you if you made it. By his teens, he was stealing cars, forging checks, and running scams. But it was in prison that he really found his purpose. He devoured books, psychology manuals, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, even Scientology texts. He studied how to manipulate people, how to find their weaknesses, how to make them believe what he wanted them to believe. When he walked out of prison in 1967, he wasn't rehabilitated. He was sharpened. That same year, the world was caught in the summer of love. The Vietnam War raged on, the streets were filled with flower children, and San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury district pulsed with color, music, and LSD. It was the perfect place for a predator who spoke the language of peace. Manson wandered the streets with a guitar, long hair, and a crooked smile, preaching a blend of Christianity, mysticism, and delusion. He told people he was Christ and the devil all at once, that he could see inside their souls, that he could free them from the lies of the world. And they believed him. His first followers were mostly young women, runaways, dreamers, and broken souls. Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, Lynette Squeaky Fromm, Leslie Van Houten, Linda Kasabian. He called them his family. They called him Charlie. They followed him to an old movie set in the California desert, Spahn Ranch, a faded ghost town where westerns had once been filmed. Its elderly owner, George Spahn, allowed them to stay. In return, the women took care of him, cleaning and giving him companionship. Manson ruled over the ranch like a prophet. He dosed his followers with LSD until they were pliable, while he himself often stayed sober, controlling every thought, every movement, every breath they took. At night, he would play the guitar and preach by firelight. He said a war was coming, a race war. He called it Helter Skelter, after a Beatles song. He told his followers that black people would rise up and destroy white society, and afterward, he and the family would emerge from hiding to rule the world. But when that prophecy didn't come true, he decided to start it himself. What most people don't know is that, before he became a murderer, Manson desperately wanted to be famous. Through his connections in Lowe's Angels, he met Dennis Wilson, the drummer of the Beach Boys, after 2 of Manson's girls hitchhiked and ended up at Wilson's house. Wilson was both fascinated and frightened by him. He introduced Manson to record producer Terry Melcher, who visited Spahn Ranch to hear Charlie's songs. But Melcher passed on signing him, and that rejection humiliated Manson more than anything else in his life. He became obsessed with the idea that Hollywood had betrayed him. And in his mind, the world would soon pay for it. By 1969, the family had grown to more than 30 members. They lived off theft, scavenging, and small-time hustles. But things took a violent turn when one of them, Bobby Bosolil, murdered a man named Gary Hinman, a musician and acquaintance of Manson, after a dispute over money. Manson himself had slashed Hinman's ear with a sword before leaving. Bosolil killed him, then wrote "Political Piggy" on the wall in Hinman's blood. When police arrested Bosolil, Manson panicked. He needed to make the world think someone else was responsible. So he decided to stage a series of murders to throw investigators off. And that's when he gave the order that would turn his twisted philosophy into horror. On the night of August 8, 1969, Manson gathered 4 of his followers: Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian. He told them to go to the house where Terry used to live. He meant Terry Melcher's old house in Benedict Canyon, but Melcher had long since moved out. Now, the house belonged to Sharon Tate, a rising Hollywood actress, married to director Roman Polanski, and 8 months pregnant with their first child. Around midnight, Tex cut the phone lines. The first victim was Stephen Parent, an 18-year-old visiting the property's caretaker. Tex shot and stabbed him in his car before heading inside. Inside the house, the killers tied up Sharon Tate and her guests, Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, and Wojciech Frykowski. The night turned into madness. Jay Sebring tried to protect Sharon and was shot, then stabbed. Abigail Folger broke free and ran outside into the dark, but Patricia Krenwinkel chased her down and stabbed her 28 times. Frykowski fought Tex Watson, trying to escape, but Tex beat him with a gun until the handle broke, shot him twice, and stabbed him more than 50 times. And then there was Sharon, 8 months pregnant, crying, begging, pleading. She said, "Please let me have my baby first." Susan Atkins later admitted she told her, "I have no mercy for you," before stabbing her 16 times. Before they left, they dipped a towel in her blood and wrote one word on the front door: "Pig." The next night, Manson said they hadn't done it right. He joined them this time. They drove around Los Angeles until Manson chose a house at random, the home of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca, a wealthy couple in Los Feliz. Manson entered first, tied them up, and told them not to worry, they wouldn't be harmed. Then he left, and the slaughter began. Leno was stabbed with a carving fork, which was left sticking from his stomach. Rosemary was stabbed 41 times. They wrote "Rise, Death to Pigs," and "Helter Skelter," spelled wrong, on the walls in blood. When the police found the bodies, the city of Los Angeles fell into panic. No one knew the victims were random. No one knew a cult had done it. For months, fear gripped Hollywood. Actors hired bodyguards. Neighbors locked their doors. And somewhere out in the desert, Charles Manson sat in silence, smiling, convinced he had begun the end of the world. The truth came out only by accident. In October of that year, Susan Atkins was arrested for the earlier Gary Hinman murder. While in jail, she bragged to her cellmates about the Tate killings, how she had killed Sharon Tate and tasted her blood. The women told authorities, and soon police connected the dots. When they raided Spawn Ranch, they found stolen cars, weapons, and handwritten plans for more attacks, including celebrity targets like Frank Sinatra, Elizabeth Taylor, and Steve McQueen. There were even plans to hijack a plane, crash it into a building, and demand Manson's release. They had gone completely mad. The trial that followed was unlike anything America had ever seen. In court, Manson carved an X into his forehead, later reshaping it into a swastika, claiming he had removed himself from your world. His female followers sat outside the courthouse, shaving their heads, carving excess into their own skin, and singing his songs. Inside, they laughed as the murders were described, sometimes mimicking the victims' dying cries. Even though Manson never physically killed anyone, his control over the family made him legally responsible. He and 3 followers, Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, and Patricia Krenwinkel, were sentenced to death. But when California briefly abolished the death penalty in 1972, those sentences were reduced to life in prison. Charles Manson would spend the next 46 years behind bars, giving rambling interviews, denying guilt, and still attracting followers. He once said, "They did what they had to do, I didn't have to tell them." Even in death, he never showed remorse. He died in 2017 at 83 years old. Some of his followers remain in prison to this day. Leslie Van Houten, who was only 19 when she helped kill Rosemary LaBianca, served decades before finally being paroled. Lynette Squeaky Fromm, one of his most devoted disciples, later tried to assassinate President Gerald Ford, claiming she did it for Charlie. Even in the 21st century, there are people who still send letters to Manson's grave, convinced he was some kind of prophet. But what Manson really wanted was fame. And in a dark, twisted way, he got it. He wanted the world to know his name, and now it never forgets. Sharon Tate's death ended more than a life. It ended an era. The peace and love illusion of the 1960s was gone forever. Hollywood learned that evil could wear a smile, play the guitar, and whisper about love. And Charles Manson, the failed musician who once begged for a record deal, finally became immortal, not as a star, but as a monster. The kind of monster that reminds us how charisma can turn deadly when devotion becomes blind, and when one man's delusion becomes another's belief. Follow for more true crime stories like this.